Cheers, guys. Epics 911, welcome to the Saturday, July 15th, 2017 edition of VR News. Long driving day today in a hotel. Guess where? Fargo. Yes, that same Fargo from the movies. It's kind of funny when you're walking around talking with people, when they know you're out of town, they all seem to have that vibe. Don't ask me about the movie, dude. Don't ask me about film locations, actors. Just don't talk to me about the movie. So I didn't. There's part of you little tempted to push buttons, see if you can get away with it. But I was on good behavior and I did not do that. Plus, like I said, another long driving day, crossing into North Dakota, the Badlands. Absolutely gorgeous. Put those some pictures up at the end. So if you're not interested, when I do my outro cheers, the video's over for you. If you are, keep watching. You can check those out. And gonna pick up the pace. There's lots of stuff I want to talk about when I get back. The branding changes, the person behind that, and just some other positive stuff with the channel. But we'll do that when I get back. For now, guys, let's jump into VR news. I want to start with this first story. Exciting as hell to me because it's one of my favorite games. Raw Data 0.7 update finally launching. So let's jump into this, talk about it for a sec. Now, this is going to be a summary because, like with a certain game, yesterday's news, a metric crap ton of updates on this one. Check out the link if you want to get into the details, nitty-gritty of each of those. If not, here are the changes basically just in summary. Hostile takeover PvP added to raw data. Yes, PvP. There's a King of the Hill type map. In King of the Hill, if you're not familiar with PvP King of the Hill, you basically have to gain control of a space on a map and then maintain control of that space to win. That's typical King of the Hill scenario. PvP characters start with their abilities max. So pick the class that you want, level playing field for everybody, and access to all your character's abilities, which is awesome. Talking about classes, a new class, a Rogue Hunter class added to the game. So, and we'll get into this in a second, how complete the game was, in my opinion, when it launched. How much more has been added since then, but we'll get into that. So also 3 additional arena maps, a new botanical gardens environment. Probably got a video playing here. It's of that botanical gardens environment. A new 7th single-player cooperative mission also. So, like I said, just a fantastic 0.7 update. There were some growing pains with it, so they had a couple of missteps. Finally, now it is out. Now, let's talk about raw data and polished games, because I want to be fair about this. I have slagged early access games. But if I'm going to be completely fair, because we know raw data is both one of my favorite games and it's early access, what gives? Well, let's give it its due. If some of the other games I've talked about are examples of early access and the pitfalls of it, raw data would have to be an example of what is right with early access. From launch, raw data has felt complete and polished to me. I never felt ripped off, taken advantage of. I never felt like I was a beta tester like I do on so many damn early access games. Updates added that reflected the feedback. If you paid that original money, you haven't had to pay a cent more. So again, everything right with early access would be raw data. If we're going to slag off early access, let's give it its due when it's done right. All right, in our next story, at Disney's D23 convention at the Anaheim Convention Centers, Oculus and Disney's Marvel making an announcement. The announcement, Marvel Powers United Virtual Reality. Let's take a look at this. It's a 4-player action game. Players take on the roles of their favorite Marvel heroes. You work together to complete missions cooperatively, face off with iconic baddies. Developer behind this, Sanzaru Games. They are the same team behind Oculus Studio Games VR Sports Challenge and Ripcoil. You'll also notice the video reveals the first of more than 12 playable characters for the game. Captain Marvel right at the start, shooting energy beams, flying into combat. You've got Rocket Raccoon from Guardian of the Galaxies, which Guardians, one of my favorite Marvel hero movies. And finally, kind of inevitable, you will be able to Hulk it up, play the Hulk, and basically crush, smash, kill scenery, which is always fun. In the game, players face off with the Kree, so another Guardians of the Galaxy kind of tie-in, because that, of course, the alien race in the Guardians movie. And Marvel Powers United VR launching sometime in 2018. If you are going to be at next week's Comic-Con in San Diego and you happen to be near the Marvel booth, the main Marvel booth, they are going to have an advanced copy of this game for you to try out. Do me a favor, guys, if anyone watching this channel happens to go to that Comic-Con and try this, please let the rest of us know. I'm really curious about how the gameplay feels. And our next story, some strange names, Holovis and Kuka. Two companies behind a massive robotic arm, and we'll see a picture or a video of that in a second, and a virtual reality experience that ties in with said gigantic robot arm. Let's take a look. So, theme parks have already begun to take advantage of existing aging roller coaster rides, add a VR element, and take that linear, twisty-turny, ancient roller coaster ride and liven it up with a VR experience. The problem has been traditionally there's not a lot of interactivity that you can do. Now, Holovis, they are the software partner, those guys programming the virtual reality experience. KUKA, the manufacturer of the custom robotic arm for the VR software to tie into. Now, Holovis, have added some interactivity. You're still going to have a linear path either way. If there's a left turn on the coaster, you're still going to make that left turn. You can't prevent that. But what you can do is add options to the ride that at least create the illusion that those on the ride can influence the ride to some degree. So just going back to that for a second, what does this mean for interactivity? What can we do? My guess is we can probably change things like environmental variables. So we're still going to turn left and then rise and then drop in a right turn, but maybe it's underwater or maybe it's in space. You might have some type of option, a button that you can push, change colors. So environmental effects, colors, those types of options, that's what I think they mean by interactivity. Again, it's a linear ride. You can't really change the outcome. You could possibly speed certain elements up or create that illusion, but again, everything happens when it happens. And our last story, guys, a new indie game subscription service named Jump has popped up that apparently also adds virtual reality games as part of the subscription service. So I mentioned the company is called Jump. They surfaced this week into a beta testing phase. There's a bunch of games on here, and what they're trying to do is those games that maybe fall through the cracks on larger platforms like Steam, they can find a home here. It's easy to lose gems, when you're surrounded by cruft left, right, and center. There's lots of good games, yes, absolutely, but say you take that 1,000 VR games, how many of those 1,000 are actually decent games? You can do the math. Also going to be offering virtual reality games. I don't know how that's going to compare to stuff like Viveport. Supposedly it's Rift and Vive both though, so that's good. $9.99 a month for this service, but you do get a 2-week trial to start out with. Now, and I gotta say, it's a pet peeve of mine, guys. When you have these subscription services, and VPNs are like this too. That negative option where, sure, you get a free month, right? But you've got to sign up first, give them your credit card number, and then, here's the kicker, you got to remember to cancel before the end of that 30 days, or you guessed it, they just start billing you month to month. In fact, they count on you forgetting. If they didn't, they would automatically terminate it at the end of 30 days and then reach out to you and say, what did you think? Ma'am, sir, do you like it? Do you want to continue? But no, it's negative option. And to me, that's lame. That sucks. And I'm always super hesitant to sign up for stuff like that. Don't know if this is like that. I'm going to look into that. I'll do an update if it is or if it isn't. My gut tells me it probably is. And that's it for the news for this Saturday, July 15th, guys. A couple more days I should be home. We're going to talk about the branding. If you like this video, click on the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, subscribe for content like this. That's only going to continue to get better when I'm back. Guys, as always, cheers.